So when I was young, my dad, before we were given the keys to the car, in the wintertime, he would take us in the car to the Walmart parking lot and in the snow, and he would make us get into a tailspin. So he would make us get the car out of control, and then he taught us how to pull the car back into control again. So I've been in a tailspin, lost control of the car, and I'm seeing everything that's wrong with everybody's decisions. And I'm looking at them from one point of view. I'm seeing Mary Washington put 8 COVID patients to 1 nurse. I'm seeing a lot of really scary things. So I'm going to teach myself how to get out of that tailspin. And the best way to get out of a tailspin when you're paranoid and you're thinking that people are out to hurt you and that they're not making decisions that are in your best interest, is to take yourself out of your own shoes and put yourself in their shoes and ask, why would they be doing that? If I were them, what are the reasons that I would make that decision? What are the reasons that that decision would be right? So let's look at the 8-to-1 ratio in the ICU right now for COVID patients. Now, I am not privileged to be able to work under those conditions and know what's going on with those patients. And if I were a nurse and I had 5 vented patients and 3 patients that were COVID positive that were also on my team, why would I give 8 patients, 5 of them vented, to 1 nurse? And maybe it's because they feel that COVID patients are going to either, their bodies are going to do it or they're not going to do it. And they're not really going to support all of their systems. So the only thing that they're doing is breathing for them. And if their bodies fight it and they survive with that intervention, then they survive. If they don't, then they don't. But let me explain to you why a vented patient needs a 1-on-1 or a 1-to-2 ratio. And that's because when you're ventilating them, they're unconscious. You are taking over their mechanisms, everything that you're doing for them. You're feeding them, you're breathing for them, you're hydrating them. And when you're doing that, and it's not their body caring for themselves, and they're not eating normal stuff, by giving them just a little bit too much water or not enough water, or giving them too much protein in that stuff that you ate, that you gave them, the food tube, you can mess up a lot of stuff. And your body naturally knows when there's something off, but if you're unconscious, your body's not telling you any of that information. Or it is telling you the information, but you don't have the ability to fix it. So you're basically doing all of this stuff for that patient. You're basically taking over that patient's entire body. Can you imagine one person even trying to take over 2 people's bodies? Not possible. Most ICUs have a 1-to-1 ratio. Not a 1-to-2, but a 1-to-1. National standard is that you can have no more than 1-to-2. They're doing 1-to-8. So how do I pull myself out of this tailspin? Because here I am. I just got back into the tailspin. I just sat back in my shoes, and I'm arguing with myself that stepped into the other person's shoes. And here's the problem, is I can't argue for her because I don't know why they did it. I don't know what their thinking is as to why they think that they can do that. I don't understand how anybody can survive having one person looking after 8 critical patients. I don't. That's why I'm so angry about it. Is because in my wildest dreams, I can't understand how they believe that they can do something that has been proven by so many people and on so many different levels and in so many different publications that it's impossible to offer care to 8 critical patients to one nurse. We've proven that. We actually did studies on that as to what was appropriate and what was not appropriate, what was safe and what was unsafe, what was impossible and what was possible. And I can guarantee you that every hospital, if they could get away with doing one nurse to 8 patients, that they would literally drive those nurses into the ground. They're trying to wreck the system. They're trying to make those nurses quit. They're trying to make them leave. There's no way. There's no way. They were doing 1 to 2 ratios before this virus hit. They had enough nurses to do that, and they have admitted in like a live thing that they have no more patients than they normally have in the ICU. Their ICU has never gone above the 37 beds. They've never had more than 37 beds occupied at one time. So how are they doing that? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know before I send somebody in there. If it's even worth sending somebody in there. You know, are they even offering the care that they need to be given? I don't know that. I really don't. So something weird is happening, and maybe my mind is not even comprehending how weird of it is, you know, like how okay, how did they do that? Why do they think that that's okay? Like, I want to know that information, and nobody seems to be wanting to tell me. So anyway, I guess I did not get out of my tailspin. I did not teach you how to get out of tailspin. I showed you what happens when you try to get out of a tailspin and you end up right back in the ditch. So I'm still in the ditch, and I did not teach myself or anybody else anything else other than don't get into a tailspin.